your top 5 graded players from Pro Football Focus were Monsoor Delane, Patrick Payton, Bernard Gooden, AJ Haulcy, and then Harold Perkins was 5. What stands out about the first 4? Delane, Payton, Gooden, Haulcy. 4 transfers. I mean, you go and spend the money LSU did to add not just bodies, but veteran dudes with skins on the wall. That's what it's like. I mean, Monsoor Delane had the interception in the game. He made 2 tackles. He was targeted 8 times. They had 1 catch against him. Of course, we mentioned he had the interception. He graded out an 81.3. He was incredible. He will be your number 1 corner. Someone asked me last week when Haulcy was suspended, do I think they might move Delane to safety? And the answer was absolutely not, because he's your best corner. And he showed why. Patrick Payton, first play of the game, he deflects the ball at the line of scrimmage. On the interception by Monsoor Delane, it was Payton providing pressure that caused Klubnik to sail the football. Bernard Gooden didn't stuff the stat sheet. He only had 2 tackles in the game, but he was, he had 4 quarterback. He had 2 tackles. He had 4 quarterback hurries in this game. Like, what was the thing we talked about with Bernard Gooden all offseason, all fall camp? That first quick step, his ability to get penetration up the middle. Dude had 4 quarterback hurries in 39 snaps. That's the other thing that shouldn't be overlooked about this game. LSU defensively played 58 snaps. Look at the rotation specifically on the defensive line. Remember, 58 snaps as a defense. Payton played 39. Gooden played 39. Dom McKinley played 24. Jamari Butler played 19. Pyburn played 39. Ahmad Bro played 17. Gabe Relaford played 20. Guillory played 27. You see my point? The point is, no one has to be out there. Like, God bless Gio Paez last year, never came off the field. And he was an undersized nose. Now, you don't have anybody who played 40 snaps. I mean, Payton, Gooden, and Pyburn all played 39. That's the most snaps you had from a defensive lineman. It was fantastic to see. I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out DJ Pickett. I mentioned the top 5. 6 on that list was Pickett. And when you have a true freshman cornerback and nobody even noticed he was on the field, generally a good thing. DJ Pickett played 25 snaps in the ball game. He had a 67.5 grade. His tackling grade was a 73. His coverage grade was a 67. They targeted him just once. He did not allow a completion. I mean, that's what happens when you're a tarantula draped all over a receiver. They look your way, and they don't throw it toward the 6'5 guy that can turn and run and cover. So, great debut for DJ Pickett. Expect his role just to continue to increase. When you look at the bottom 5, it's hard to complain about anything defensively because they were all the defense was so awesome. But your bottom 5, lowest graded player was Tamarcus Cooley, Javen Toviano, Jacobian Guillory, West Weeks, and Gabe Relaford. That was your bottom 5. But none of them were awful. I mean, what Cooley got hit with was he was targeted 3 times and gave up 3 receptions. And when you're a defensive back and you're targeted 3 times, you give up 3 receptions, that's going to be part of it. As far as but the thing that was, I think, also notable about Cooley was his versatility. He played 5 snaps in the box, 28 at free safety, 24 in the slot. They moved him all over. He had 1 body slam tackle, which was great. Love to see the physicality. Somebody's got to be at the bottom of the list. It just so happened that it was Tamarcus Cooley, but I don't think anybody on this defense played poorly. It would be hard to find fault with anything anybody did on the defensive side of the ball. If you flip it over to offense, your top 5 offensively were Aaron Anderson, Garrett Nussmeier, Braylon Moore, Caden Durham, Trey'Dez Green. Anderson obviously was fantastic in this football game. He was targeted, Aaron Anderson made 6 catches with 56 yards after the catch. Of course, the big 39-yard catch and run was massive on the 1st and 20. 5 of his 6 catches converted first downs. He was really good, and that's what started to loosen up the game when LSU and Joe Sloan made that adjustment in the short passing game, and Aaron Anderson was the beneficiary. Garrett Nussmeier was awesome. He did not have a single turnover-worthy play offensively. He didn't need to go throw for 350, 400 yards in this ball game. You needed Garrett Nussmeier to be efficient, protect the football, get you into the right running plays. He did all of those things. Nuss even converted 3 first downs with his feet. The third highest rated player, as you mentioned, was Braylon Moore. One of the things that absolutely jumps off the page when you look at these Pro Football Focus numbers from Saturday, when you look at the blocking grades, you had 3 players with a pass blocking grade in the 80s. Braylon Moore had an 85. Josh Thompson had an 84. Paul Mabenga had an 81. That's your your center and your 2 guards. Your center and your 2 guards all had pass blocking grades in the 80s. The big concern about blowing up the launch pad, where last year DJ Chester was such a liability in the middle, and when Garrett Dellinger got hurt, you had Mabenga at left guard. That was a problem for this offensive line a year ago. To have Moore, Thompson, the reason you went and got Moore and Thompson, 2 veteran players who were 2-year starters in the Power 4, was because of this. They were going to be able to go on the road in front of that defense with All-Americans like Woods and Parker and Helt and not be intimidated or moved by the environment or anything they saw, because they're super experienced players. From the first day of fall camp, Braylon Moore was installed as the center. Brian Kelly said it in the media availability after that first practice that Braylon Moore was going to be their center. They never moved off of that, and you were rewarded by it. I also found it interesting that they gave a lot of help to the tackles. Donovan Green was in on 8 snaps. Nick Anderson played 24. Nick Anderson played 24 snaps. Whenever, I guess we should mention, the one injury in the game was Destin Hill. Destin Hill got the start and only played. Destin Hill played 2 snaps and then got hurt. Was told it was an upper body injury. Don't know what it was, but then he came out. So Nick Anderson ended up playing that role. And of his 24 snaps, 13 of them were run blocking. And you had, forgive me, y'all, I'm toggling here, trying to get everything here. But sorry, my apologies. I'm toggling back and forth on this page. But anyway, the point is, Nick Anderson was blocking a lot. You had Nick Anderson blocking. You had Donovan Green, Bauer Sharp, and Caden Durham combined to pass protect on about half of Garrett Nussmeier's passing attempts, which goes to tell you they were giving the tackles help, which they needed. But all in all, I thought the offensive line held up remarkably well in the football game. The bottom 5, Chris Hilton was your lowest rated player. Then Bauer Sharp, Weston Davis, Nick Anderson, and Paul Mabenga. Yes, it's disappointing that in the bottom 5, you had 2 of your starting offensive linemen with Davis and Mabenga. But as we talked about, Mabenga's pass blocking grade was outstanding with an 81. He just wasn't very good run blocking. I mean, the first play of the game, they ran behind Mabenga on the left side. Play almost got blown up. Caden Durham broke a tackle, went back around to the right side and ran for 24 yards. Bauer Sharp is down at the bottom. He gets dinged for the fumble, which Pro Football Focus will ding you for that. That's why he's so low, but he was fine. Bauer Sharp's pass blocking grade was a 74. His run blocking grade was a 58. That's got to get better, but he was fine. The issue with Sharp was the fumble. Chris Hilton's grade, I'm just not worried about. It just wasn't his day. When you're this deep at receiver, and I asked Garrett Nussmeier this question at media days. I asked Joe Sloan this question when we had media availability with him in fall camp. Some version of when you have this many weapons, how do you keep everybody happy? And on Saturday, 6 different players ran the football and 9 different players caught a pass. So I think they did a good job of spreading it around, but there's going to be days where it's just not Chris Hilton's day. And this was one of those days where, because LSU was respectful of Clemson's pass rush, they just didn't throw vertical routes very often. I mean, they threw the one to Barian Brown that you got a touchdown robbed from you, but it just wasn't Chris Hilton's day. This was Aaron Anderson. This was Avion Thomas. This was Juwan Johnson in the flat. This was Bauer Sharp. This was a day where, throwing the football at or near the line of scrimmage was going to be more, paramount, in the game. For Garrett Nussmeier, there were 3 shots that went beyond 20 yards in the air. 3. The whole game. They lived within 10 yards. It was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 23, 14, 27. 27 of Garrett Nussmeier's passes were traveled inside of 10 yards. 27 of his, 39 attempts? So the point is, this was just a game where it wasn't Chris Hilton's game. Louisiana Tech, when you're not as worried about the pass rush, this could be a big week this week for Chris Hilton. There's going to be other days like that, but these guys are just going to have to be patient because everybody can't eat every Saturday. You're going to have to pick your spots. I'm not worried about Chris Hilton. He'll be fine. It just wasn't his day on Saturday. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.